So today I'm going to be showing you guys my full plant collection. I get a few questions, people asking me what kind of plants I have, what kind of plants I recommend, and like how I take care of them. Just a disclaimer though, I'm not a professional plant person. I'm gonna be sharing with you guys like how I take care of them and stuff, but this is just what works for me. So if you guys have any tips or anything on how to take care of plants, or any new tips that you guys may have, feel free to comment them down below. Or if I'm doing something wrong, or if I'm doing something that isn't good for the plants, please let me know, because I obviously don't want to hurt the plants in any way. Okay, so the first plant that I have a lot in my room are the vine plants, which are basically these. There's two types that I have in my room. The first one is called golden pothos. It's just a vine plant and they grow pretty fast, and they just kind of work their way around your house and like around your room, or like the things that you have. I have 7 of these in my room, scattered around in different vases in different parts of my room. For this big one up here, I have it in soil, so I have it in a pot of dirt. And then also in my much bigger plant, I also have it in a big pot of dirt, but they can also grow in water. So you can cut a piece of these that has the little sticky thingies. I'm so bad with terms, guys. You can propagate the vines into vases of water, and then the roots will start getting bigger and bigger, and you can leave it in the vase or you can switch it to soil. But you have to be careful with that, because sometimes it's hard for the plant to transition into soil or vice versa, so just be aware of that. And I have some in soil, I have some in water. They both equally grow as much. I do think that the vine plants require some sort of sunlight, so just make sure to give it some sort of sunlight. If it's in a place where it's not getting a lot of sunlight, maybe move it for like a few hours or like a day to a place where it has sun, and then you can move it back. This is just one example of one of them that is in water. This one was gifted to me, so it's been growing for like a long time now. But as you can see, the roots have been growing, and it's just really chunky roots in here. She's clearly still growing and going strong. So those are the golden pothos plant. And then there's also, it's called the heartleaf philodendron, which is also a vine plant. It's pretty similar to the pothos one, except that one, the leaf shape is a bit different. It's shaped like a heart, and also the stems are a bit thinner, a lot skinnier than the golden pothos one. It grows like little it grows like little legs, and it attaches itself to the wall, but it's easily removable. Just don't like take it off too hard or whatever. Like I said, I have so many of those around in my room. They're all growing really fast. They're definitely my top favorite plant that I think everyone should get. Like, if anyone were to ask me what plant I would recommend, it would definitely be a pothos plant. Like, I think they're so cute. They liven up the room so well, and they're just my favorite, clearly, because I have so many around the room. I just think it makes the room look overall 10 times better. The next kind of plants that I also have a lot in my room are succulents / cacti. So I have a few of them. I'm gonna be reading, if I'm looking over here, it's because I'm reading the names. The first kind of plant that I have is called the angel wing cactus. It's kind of dying. It kind of like went through a rough time, so it's kind of like not looking the strongest right now, but it's just a simple cactus, kind of leaf-like cactus ovals, and it just grows and stuff. It used to be a lot bigger, but I think I might have overwatered it or something went wrong, and like she completely just like died. But I'm trying to revive her. I moved her to a different location. I moved her out of my room, and hopefully she starts getting better. I believe this is either my second or third cactus like this, and they're super cute. They're easy to maintain. Since it's a cactus, they don't really require a lot of water, because they're basically like desert plants, you know. The next cactus that I have is called the peanut cactus. These are not the original names, but these are like the nicknames they go by. If you do search them on Google, like pictures will appear. But this one is basically just a spiky little cactus. I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by cacti because, you know, it has like spiky things on them, but they actually don't hurt at all unless you like literally fall into it. But if you like lightly tap it, it doesn't hurt at all, especially if there's like a bunch, you know. It doesn't feel as pokey. Sometimes they get even more arms on the side, so it just kind of like droops over the pot. My next plant that I have is an aloe vera plant. I actually found this near the dumpster near my house, and I brought her in. This is my first aloe vera plant, and I wasn't really sure what its necessities were, but so far she's doing really good. She's been growing a lot. This one is also a really cool plant to have. I think the shape is really unique. But yeah, this one is my first aloe vera plant. The next kind of succulent that I have is called sedum adolphi. It's basically like a vine plant, but it's in a succulent form. Like, it goes out into the pot like a vine plant. I have 2 of these. They're in the succulent section. One of them that I have right now is like overflowing the pot. Like I clearly need to repot it because she's just getting really long. They do grow pretty fast. I recently just got her like a few months ago and she already got super big. If you don't want a like vine plant that will like bombard your whole house, I feel like maybe getting a succulent that's kind of like a vine plant would be really cute in your house. And then this little one is actually my sister's, but I do have it in my room. It's just an assorted little cactus plant. It has different versions of succulents in it, and I know Home Depot sells assorted bowls of cacti, so it's just different kinds of cacti planted into one big pot. And I think those are really cute because there's like different plants in that one pot, and I think it makes the pot look really interesting and just like full, you know. This next one I got at a CVS pharmacy. It's basically a cactus. It's basically like a peanut cactus, except it has fuzz on it. And I was trying to find the name of this plant, but I couldn't. I think I found a name. Some people were calling it like grandpa cactus or something like that, because it like, I guess it looks like a grandpa because of the fuzz. At first I thought it was mold, but that's how I bought it. Like it already had the fuzz on it, and I did end up realizing later on that it's a kind of cactus that just has like fuzz on it. That one is also really cute. It's not spiky at all. I think they're really interesting looking. You don't really think about plants having fuzz to them, you know, especially if it's a cactus. You would think the cactus would be like spiky and stuff. This next plant that was gifted to me by Fernanda, I believe, is called the Aloe brevifolia. I think it's a kind of aloe plant. It's basically a spiky plant that kind of forms into a flower if you look at it from above, and it has a few spikes on the side, which actually are pretty pointy. Floral shaped plant that has like spikes around it, and when it gets big it like goes like this. And sometimes they're a bit more fuller, so it looks like literally like a rose, like you're looking at a rose. But the one that I have is a bit less fuller, so it looks like just little leaves on either side. And then the more leaves it gets in the middle, the bigger and wider it gets, the more taller it gets as well. The next type of plant that I have, which is also one of my favorites, is called a pilea plant, and it's basically these plants that are shaped as circles. And I think they're just the cutest plants ever because it's just like a stem, just like a bunch of stems with like little circle leaves. And usually when you think of leaves, you think like an oval shape maybe, but the fact that these are circle makes them so cute. I have two of these. I believe they're both from Trader Joe's, but I think these are so unique looking, and they kind of remind me of like, not spiders, but, or I guess spiders. They kind of remind me of like spider legs, or like, oh, they remind me of those things that you stick on like your shower. It's like a little circle and it like sticks. I'll try to find a picture of it. It reminds me of that. The next plant that I have is actually called a corn plant, which I didn't know. One of my subscribers told me the name of the plant because I had no idea, and I tried Googling it and I literally could not find the name of it. And I recently got it as well. My dad gave it to me. It's different from my other plants that I have in my room. It looks like a tree. Actually no, it looks like a palm tree, but the stem is like bamboo kind. And again, this one was found, my dad found it in a vase of water, so I'm assuming it could stay in a vase. I haven't moved it from its original location. It basically is just like long green leaves, and they just kind of like stem out, kind of like palm tree-ish, you know. I think this one's one of my favorites as well. I just think it's so big. Like I wish I had more room in my room because I want to get like full-on trees in here, bro. Okay, I want to get full-on forest trees in here. But I've seen so many plants with like huge leaves and just like all these leaves like coming out, and I wish I had more room in our room because I would literally, I'd buy all of them, okay? The next kind of plant that I have is, I believe it's called a bamboo plant. I've had it for so long. I think it was my mom's, and then I just kind of took her in my room. It's just a simple bamboo plant. She looks a bit malnourished. She looks pretty skinny, and she only has a few leaves on her. I think this one's one of my favorites. I think probably because of the vase that it's in. This one's really cute. I like the vases that they're in. I think it's really unique. I just have her by my window, by my kitties, by my kitty cats. The last kind of plant that I have in my room is called Cyclamen plant, which is this one that my dad also found for me and gave to me. This one's the only plant of its kind in my room. It was my first time owning a plant like this. When I first got her, she was dying, and so I had to kind of add more dirt to her and like feed her water. And then I realized that she grows these pink flowers, and I think the pink flowers are so cute. When they first started blooming, I literally freaked out because I did not expect it to get flowers, and I don't have flowers in my room. Like, I only have green plants, you know. I think flowers are more for like outdoor maybe, or a much more open area, so I try not to keep flowers in here because I feel like it can get a bit humid, and I don't think there's a lot of like air ventilation in my room. Surprisingly, this plant has survived in my room for like a year now. I keep her by the window so she gets air and sunlight and whatever. Yeah, this one's a really cute plant if you guys want a plant with flowers on them. I also think the shape of the leaves are really cute. It's kind of like the heart leaf vine one, like the leaves are shaped as in like a little heart, and I just have her in this cute little basket that my friend gave me, and I think it's the cutest thing ever. It's definitely one of my favorite plants that I have in here, primarily because of the flowers. Like, I feel like it adds like a cute little touch of color into all the plants, because majority of my plants are just green, like just green, but then that one has like a hint of pink. Now I'm gonna share with you guys how I take care of them and stuff. These are just kind of my tips that I've learned throughout my years of being a plant mom. So basically, I water mine like every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. That's the time frame when I notice that my plants are getting dehydrated or like their leaves are getting droopy. But obviously, if I see a plant that's like drooping like instantly, I'm gonna give it water no matter if it's been 2 or 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks is generally when I water them, and whenever I water them all of them at the same time. Okay, I feel bad if I just water one and then I don't water the others, because I feel like they're just like dying of thirst. So whenever I do water them, I water them all at the same time, so then I don't like forget one, you know. So I either see if the leaves are drooping, or they're just kind of like, you know, they're just kind of like sad looking, or I also touch the dirt and see if it's dry. And if it's like rock hard, then that's when you know you need to add water to it. I've gotten a few DMs of people saying like their plants always die, like they overwater them and stuff, and I do agree that was a struggle of mine in the beginning. Like, I would definitely overwater them because I'm like, okay, I want to make sure it has enough water, you know. But I feel like you can pretty much tell when it needs water. Like I said, if it's drooping or if the dirt is dry. Obviously, if the dirt is wet or even a bit like humid, a bit like soggy, definitely don't add water, because then it gets moldy and it just gets like this yellow mold, and it's like, you know, it already has enough water. You have to let it completely dry before adding more water. Also, make sure with all the pots that you have that they have a hole at the bottom to let the water drain out. You need to make sure that the soil breathes from the bottom, because the water drains in from the top and then goes down to the bottom, and if the water just stays soggy at the bottom, then it's gonna grow mold, and then your plant is gonna die. The roots are gonna just completely dead. Okay, we don't want that. So you want to make sure that the pot that you have has a hole at the bottom. Also, a tip that I learned is that when you water your plant, make sure it drains out the water from the bottom. So if you have a pot, I know some pots come with like a little plate at the bottom, but if you don't have a built-in plate or whatever, you can just get it like a random bowl, or I know they sell like plastic plates or plastic bowls at Home Depot or whatever. You can get those. So basically, you have your pot, you have the little bowl at the bottom, you water your plant, right? Water it, and then you wait until you see that the water comes out at the bottom, right? And then once you see that it comes out at the bottom, that's when you're set, you know. Maybe leave like an inch of water sitting in the bowl, because it will absorb it throughout like a few hours or so. But yeah, just make sure it drains at the bottom. That's what I do with all my pothos plants. Like, it will drain it eventually. Like, the water will not stay there. Like, it will absorb into the dirt within like minutes or hours. Another way you can water your plants is having a spray bottle. I know sometimes I like to do this. I don't know if it works or if it does anything, but I just kind of like to do this. I first spray the dirt, like the top of the dirt of the plant, with water, and then I just let it get a little wet, and then that's when I actually pour in the water with like my water hose thingy. What is that called? This thing. I don't know what it's called, water hose. But first I mixed the dirt with some spray bottle water, and that's just to, I don't know how to explain it, but there's been some times where I just directly just go in with the water hose, and then it just kind of, the water just kind of like sits up there and it just like floats. Like, it doesn't even go down into the dirt. I don't like when it does that. I think that's just personal preference. I think eventually it just does go at the bottom, but I just kind of like to wet the top part first, and then when I go into the water hose, it like completely goes into all the dirt, all the sections. Again, I don't know if that does anything, but that's just something that I like to do. If you have plants with leaves, you can also use the spray bottle to spray the leaves and just kind of like clean them, because I know some leaves do accumulate some dust over time. That's not good. Or I don't know if it's not good, but I don't like it. I spray it with a water bottle and then I go in with like a clean wet towel and just wet it with water, and I just kind of like wipe it off, you know, and like wipe off all the dirt or the dust, because you know there's gonna be dust in your room from like your bed or like, you know, cleaning or whatever, and it does get on your plants. So just make sure you're like cleaning the leaves and stuff. Obviously you don't have to do that for the cactus or the cacti because we don't want you to bleed. Another tip that I have for helping your plants grow is repotting them. Whenever I buy a plant from like Home Depot or something, I keep it in its little like container that it comes with, right? And then obviously it's gonna start growing, and when I see that it's getting a lot bigger than the pot that it's in, I repot it. And let me tell you, as soon as I repot it, it grows like crazy, okay? Yeah, that's happened so many times. So make sure you're repotting your plant, obviously depending on the size. You want to get a pot big enough for the plant. Obviously you don't want to get like a mini one and then there's like leaves everywhere. There have been a few plants that I have where they're just like, they're not thriving, okay? They're dehydrated or they're malnourished. Something's going wrong. And I just repot it into a completely new pot. I add new soil, get rid of the soil that it was in, and then add new soil, and then it like gets better. I know sometimes soil can get contaminated if it's like moldy or if it's just like not good soil, you know? So maybe changing the soil up and changing the pot can make your plant feel better, okay? Maybe get it a cute yellow pot or a cute blue one, or get it a pot with like flowers and birds. Another thing which I briefly mentioned earlier in my video, if you have a plant in your room and it's just like not thriving, you can try moving it to another location or completely moving it to another room. I recently had a plant, okay? It was the one that grows the pink flowers. One day I just looked over and she was dead. Okay, no green leaves, everything was dead, everything was droopy, and I was like, there's no way. Like, this plant meant so much to me. Like, it was founded by my dad, okay, founded by Mr. Cifuentes, and I got really upset, and I was like, okay, let me just move it to the kitchen, to like the kitchen table, because the sun hits the kitchen table a lot. And I was like, okay, let me water you and put you in the kitchen table. And I just moved her scenery, you know, moved her environment. Guys, she was brand new, okay? New year, new her. She was a brand new plant. Her leaves became green again, which I thought was crazy. If I think a leaf is brown, I'm like, okay, it's done for. Like, it's not gonna go back to life. But that one turned green. Yeah, and then I left her there for like a week maybe, and so she's here right now. So maybe try moving the environment or moving the location or the placement of the plant to like a different plant, maybe with more sun or maybe with less sun, with more air. Maybe you can move it outside. I know sometimes they thrive when they're outside. So I usually get my soil from Home Depot. They sell like really big bags. There's like different kinds of soil, and honestly I literally don't know the difference in them. I just get the one my dad says to get. You could probably ask the Home Depot worker or just see on the picture. I know sometimes they have like descriptions on them according to like what kind of soil this is best for. But yeah, they sell like really big bags over there, and you could just keep one and like put it in your garage or like your balcony and just have it there in case you do need to repot one of your plants and like you need to get dirt real quick. Unless you have a backyard. I don't have a backyard though. I live in an apartment. And lastly, if there's a few dead plants, okay, don't be too hard on yourself, guys. I've been there, okay? I am in there. Literally, one plant that my friend gave me, it passed away, and I haven't told him yet. But don't be too hard on yourself if all the plants that you have aren't thriving or are not growing. It's hard, okay? They're basically like kids. I'm surprised that my plants that I have in here are like surviving as much as they are, or like growing still. Just like be positive on it. Don't blame yourself too much, okay? It's okay. Just blame it on the weather. I blame everything on the weather, so just blame it on the weather, because the weather's been whack. I think those are all my tips and tricks that I have for how I take care of my plants. Hopefully it helps you guys in some way. If any of you guys have any more tips, feel free to comment them down below, okay? I could use some more tips, or anyone else viewing this video could use more tips. Oh, another thing that I have heard from a few people is that they've heard that having too many plants in your room is not good because of like the oxygen. Like supposedly it's not good to breathe in or something like that. I don't know how accurate that is. I've heard people say that, but then I've also heard people say that plants clear the air, clear the area. I've heard that plants clear the oxygen that you're in, so I'm gonna just believe that one. because I don't think I could get rid of any of the plants I have right now. I don't have any lung issues or any issues in my body to support the claim that it's bad to have a lot of plants in your room. I could be right though. I could just be like ignorant and just like not know. I do agree I have a lot of plants. Okay, I have like 21. Majority of the plants that I have in here are indoor plants, so I would think they would be fine to be indoors, you know. I've seen a lot of vine plants, a lot of pothos plants, succulents and all that in rooms and like in tight spaces, so I'm pretty sure you're fine. But if you guys are a bit more worried about that, you could definitely look at the plant that you want to buy and maybe like search if it's good to keep inside your room or like indoors, you know. But yeah, that's just something I kind of wanted to mention because I know a lot of people keep telling me that they're like, Yami, it's not good to have a lot of plants in your room, and I'm like, I suddenly don't speak English. That's basically it. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to comment them down below. I think I pretty much touched up on everything. I think I made like a list. Don't forget to follow me on my social media, and I will see you guys in my next video. Okay guys, go buy a plant. If you're seeing this video, it's a sign to go buy a plant. Okay, buy a pothos plant though. Buy a golden pothos. Stay safe you guys, and I will see you guys in my next video.